Ladies and gentlemen, there's a man somewhere right now, standing in the stillness of his apartment. The silence isn't loud to him anymore, it's peace. He makes his own meals, he organizes his day, he handles life without needing anyone to hold his hand. There's no girlfriend curled up beside him, no dates on the calendar, no romantic texts lighting up his phone, and yet he's not broken, he's not lost, he's not lonely, he is whole, because let's get one thing straight, being alone is not a punishment. It is not a flaw, it is not some tragic tale to whisper about in pity. Being alone is a declaration. It's saying, I will not settle, I will not chase validation, I will grow until I become the man I was born to be. So often, the world tries to box men in with this silent pressure. You're only complete when you're with someone. You're only valuable when you're chosen. But what if the most powerful thing a man can do is choose himself first? What if he looked in the mirror and said, I don't need a relationship to prove my worth. I prove it with every choice I make, every goal I chase, every morning I rise and grind when nobody's watching. See the man who lives alone. He's not invisible, he's evolving. While the world spins in a blur of noise, distraction, and temporary highs, he's building, he's learning, he's healing, and that takes courage. Because it's easier to run into someone else's arms than to face your own insecurities. It's easier to distract yourself with romance than it is to confront your shadows and sculpt a better version of yourself. But this man, he stays, he listens to the quiet, he reads, he lifts, he works, he dreams, he grows, and he doesn't need an audience to applaud him. Because his drive is internal, not conditional. His solitude isn't a cage. It's a forge, and every day it molds him into something greater. This isn't a story of isolation. This is a story of preparation, because real love, deep, unshakable love isn't found by rushing, it's found by becoming. When the right woman comes into his life, he won't need her to complete him. He'll be whole already. He won't be looking to be saved. He'll be ready to build. He'll be a man who knows how to give, how to lead, how to love, not from a place of neediness, but from abundance. And until that day comes, he's not wasting time. He's investing it. He invests it in his passion, in his health, in his family, in his future. He's not out here comparing his life to highlight reels on social media. He's not worried about timelines or keeping up with anyone else. He's not measuring his masculinity by whether or not someone texts him good morning. He measures it by discipline, by integrity, by showing up for himself when it would be easier to quit. This man is not just passing time, he is planting seeds, and though the world may not see the roots forming beneath the surface, one day they will see the forest he's built, because he understands something vital. The man who is okay alone will never be desperate with someone. He will love freely, not fearfully. He will speak truth, not play games. He will walk away when something doesn't align, not because he's cold, but because he knows his peace is too precious to gamble with. So if you are that man, or you're becoming him, know this: your journey is sacred. Your solitude is not a signal that something is missing. It's a sign that you are building something eternal. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. You don't need to rush, settle, or pretend. You're not behind. You're in alignment. You're not waiting. You're growing. There's a fire in you that doesn't need constant tending. You've learned to be your own source of light. And when you finally cross paths with someone worthy of your heart, they won't have to complete you. They'll complement you. Until then, hold your head high, walk boldly, speak purposefully, live fully. Because the man who walks alone walks strongest, and the world hasn't seen the best of you yet, but it will, and when it does, they'll realize you weren't alone, you were becoming, and that is unstoppable. Embracing solitude as strength, not weakness, there's a dangerous misconception that lingers in the air. This idea that a man who is alone must somehow be broken, less than, or incomplete. Society has taught us to equate solitude with sadness, to assume that being single is just a temporary holding space for those waiting to be fixed by love. But let's strip away that lie and confront the truth with open eyes and a bold heart. Solitude is not weakness. It is power in its purest form. When a man chooses to live alone without the constant presence of a girlfriend or romantic partner, it is not always because he can't find love. It's often because he's choosing to build something deeper first. He's choosing to build himself. This kind of man doesn't run from loneliness. He sits with it. He learns from it. He wrestles with the silence, and in that silence, he begins to hear the voice he'd forgotten, the one within. Think about it. In a world obsessed with connection, being alone takes courage. It's easy to slip into the rhythm of distractions, to lose yourself in a crowd, or to wrap your identity in another person's affection. But it takes an entirely different kind of strength to stand alone and be okay with what you find in that stillness. This solitude isn't a void, it's a classroom. It teaches him discipline. He wakes up every day not because someone is depending on him, but because he is depending on him. He sets his goals, pushes his limits, and holds himself accountable. In a relationship, some men lose themselves trying to please others, but when he's alone, he rediscovers who he truly is. He finds his rhythm. He sharpens his vision. Living without a girlfriend doesn't mean he's emotionally closed off. On the contrary, he's emotionally mature enough to understand that love should never be forced. He knows real intimacy is earned, not stumbled into. And until he finds that genuine connection, he refuses to dilute his life with shallow encounters that leave him emptier than before. People often look at a man sitting by himself at a cafe, walking through the city alone, or attending an event solo and whisper, "Poor guy." But they miss what's really happening. He's not lonely. He's free. Free to think deeply, move purposefully, grow endlessly, free from expectations, free from performance, free from compromising his values just to fill a space beside him. Solitude gives him clarity. In that quiet space, he can evaluate his purpose, refine his habits, and build a foundation so strong that when storms come, and they always do, he won't crumble because he's learned to weather life without a crutch. He's been forged in silence, strengthened by solitude. What's more inspiring than that? This kind of man is magnetic. Why? Because he radiates something rare, self-possession. He doesn't need attention to feel validated. He doesn't need constant reassurance to know his worth. He walks into a room and owns it, not because of arrogance, but because of alignment. He's in touch with who he is and unapologetic about who he's becoming. And let's be clear, this solitude isn't permanent, nor is it about avoiding love. It's about respecting love enough to wait for the real thing. It's about refusing to settle out of fear. It's about growing into the kind of man who doesn't need a partner, but is ready for one day when the time and the person are right. So to the man who lives alone, I say this, don't apologize for it. Don't let the world guilt you into thinking you're missing out. You're not lacking. You're investing. You're laying the groundwork for a life of purpose, passion, and peace. And when love finally finds you, it won't be because you were desperate, it'll be because you were whole. And that, my friend, is not weakness, that is strength. Building an identity beyond relationships, there's a kind of quiet transformation that happens when a man chooses to define himself not by his relationship status, but by the depth of his character, the vision of his dreams, and the values he stands for. In a world that constantly flashes images of relationship goals, romantic timelines, and couple highlights on every screen we see, it takes real conviction for a man to say, "I will not be defined by who walks beside me, but by who I choose to become when I walk alone." Too many men fall into the trap of believing that their value as a man is tied to whether or not they are in a relationship. They chase validation through attention, affection, and temporary bonds. They begin to see themselves through someone else's eyes instead of their own. And slowly, without realizing it, they hand over their identity, piece by piece, to someone else's presence. But here's the truth. Your identity is not a reflection of your relationship status. It's a reflection of your principles, your purpose, and your personal evolution. When a man is single, living alone, without a girlfriend, he has a rare opportunity to construct his identity from the inside out. He gets to ask the hard questions. Who am I when no one's watching? What do I believe in? What kind of life do I want to build? And he answers them, not to please anyone else, but to ground himself in something real, because identity built around a relationship alone is fragile. What happens when that person walks away? What happens when disagreements arise? What happens when love is tested? If a man hasn't developed a strong sense of self, he crumbles, he becomes dependent, he compromises beyond healthy boundaries. But when a man builds himself outside of romance, when he knows who he is before love enters, he becomes unshakable. He is driven by a mission, not a girlfriend. He wakes up fueled by a purpose, not just a partner. He's building a life that's meaningful, whether someone joins him or not. That's not cold, it's powerful. It means that when someone does come along, he invites them into his life. He doesn't hand them the keys to define it. This man invests in his craft. He explores what sets his soul on fire. He doesn't ask, will she approve of this? He asks, does this align with my purpose? And from that place, he creates a life so rich, so meaningful, so deeply authentic, that anyone who enters it adds to the joy, but never becomes the source of it. He understands that love is not about dependency, it's about interdependence. He doesn't want to be someone's other half because he's already whole, and when two whole people come together, they don't drain each other, they elevate one another. There's something deeply magnetic about a man who knows who he is, who isn't swayed by trends or pressures, who doesn't lose himself in love, but brings himself fully to love. He doesn't chase relationships to fill a void. He builds a life that's so full, so rich, so alive with purpose, that love becomes the icing, not the cake. So if you're a man walking this path, choosing solitude, embracing independence, growing your mind and spirit, know this, you are doing something rare. You are breaking the mold, and most importantly, you are building a version of yourself that doesn't just attract attention, but commands respect. Because in the end, it's not your relationship status that defines your legacy. It's the strength of your identity. It's how you carried yourself when no one was clapping. It's how you treated people when no one was watching. It's how you kept going when no one believed in you. Your worth isn't tied to who loves you. Your worth is tied to how deeply you live, how fiercely you stand, and how true you are to your vision. So build that identity, brick by brick, day by day, alone if you must, but never apologetically. Because the man who knows who he is without a girlfriend will never be lost in love. He'll lead with strength, he'll give with clarity, and he'll live with purpose. And that kind of man, he doesn't just find love when it comes, he elevates it. Preparing for love without rushing into it, there's a quiet power in patience, especially in a world that glorifies urgency. Everyone wants love fast. They want the fireworks, the Instagram, worthy moments, the hand to hold, the label to wear. But real love, the kind that transforms, uplifts, and endures, doesn't bloom in haste. It grows in the soil of readiness, and that's where the man who lives alone without a girlfriend finds his edge. He isn't rushing into love. He's preparing for it. This man understands something most people overlook. Love is not an escape from solitude. It is a reward for growth. It's not a solution to loneliness. It's a complement to wholeness. He knows that diving headfirst into relationships without clarity or maturity often leads to heartbreak, confusion, and unnecessary pain. So instead of chasing the feeling, he chooses the foundation. While others leap into love to fill a void, he chooses to fill his life with purpose, with discipline, with vision. He doesn't look at his singleness as a delay. He sees it as divine design. This season is not wasted time. It is work time. He's working on becoming a man who doesn't just desire love, but one who can sustain it, because attraction might spark a connection, but it's preparation that makes it last. He's learning emotional intelligence. He's sharpening his communication skills. He's healing from past wounds so he doesn't bleed on someone who didn't cut him. He's not sitting idle. He's reflecting on what kind of partner he wants to be, what kind of standards he holds, and what kind of legacy he wants to build with someone when the time is right. And let's be honest, this kind of patience is rare. Because the world throws noise at him every day. When are you going to settle down? Aren't you afraid you'll be alone forever? But he doesn't let that noise steer him off course. He knows better than to trade temporary companionship for long-term alignment. He's not swiping just to soothe an ache. He's not texting exes just to feel wanted. He's not forcing connections that don't fit because he's not desperate. He's disciplined. He knows what he brings to the table, and he's building more to bring every day. So when love finally arrives, it won't feel like a rescue mission, it'll feel like a partnership. He won't need someone to fill the silence in his home, because that silence made him stronger. He won't need someone to validate him, because his validation came from walking alone through fire and still rising. And he knows this, the right love doesn't rush in like a storm. It walks in steady like the sunrise, sure, calm, and undeniable. That's what he's waiting for. Not drama, not games, not illusions. Depth, truth, connection. And he's doing the work now to be ready when that moment comes. When that woman walks into his life, she won't be meeting a man who's been starving for affection. She'll meet a man who's full of wisdom, strength, and self-respect. She'll meet a man who didn't waste a single years chasing approval. He used them to build his soul, and that kind of man, he doesn't attract love by luck. He attracts it by alignment. So if you are in that season, living alone without a girlfriend, don't doubt your path. Don't let impatience rob you of preparation. Love is not late. It's arriving exactly when it should, and it will match the version of you that you are becoming. So keep building, keep healing, keep growing. You are not behind. You are being refined, and when love does find you, it will feel different. It will feel safe, not scary, whole, not hollow. It won't be a rescue, it will be a reunion of two people who took the time to become ready. That's the reward of preparation. That's the beauty of not rushing, and that is how real love begins. So let us say this clearly, boldly, and without apology. A man who lives alone without a girlfriend is not lost. He is not broken. He is not behind. He is becoming. He is choosing solitude over shallowness. He is building himself brick by brick, patiently, purposefully, powerfully. He is not defined by who holds his hand, but by how he holds himself. While others race to be seen, he chooses to be solid. While others chase love to feel whole, he becomes whole so he can one day give love, not depend on it. This man is not avoiding love. He is preparing for it. He is not afraid of being alone. He is thriving in it, and when the time comes, he will not bring his wounds into a relationship, but his wisdom. He won't come with baggage, but with blessing, because he used this time, this rare, sacred time, to rise above distractions and discover his real self. And that self, that man, he is strong, he is clear, he is complete, and when love arrives, he won't need it to feel alive. He will already be alive, and the love he builds will not be based on need, but on choice. So to every man walking this path, keep going, don't rush, don't shrink, don't compare, stand tall in your solitude, stand proud in your preparation, because you are not alone, you are on your way to something greater. And when the world finally sees what you've been building in silence, they will realize you weren't waiting, you were rising, and now you're ready.